Hey guys, Jason from Critical Dice, and joining me is Kate Welch.
That's me.
Yeah, that's her. Grandmother night, not your grandma's grandma, in case of those rare occasions where she is your grandma's grandma.
Mm-hmm.
Rosie B. Singer. Yeah. So, welcome. Thanks for taking a few minutes.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. That's a way creepier up close.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, wow.
It's creepy to do it. Yeah, I wish I hadn't tied myself to this, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, now literally nothing. Yeah.
Right.
At least you don't have to high five yourself. So.
No, and he stopped that, I think, but he doesn't in real life.
He stopped in public. I think that's the thing. So, I asked people a couple of days ago, hey, if I get to interview Kate, what should I ask her? And one of the ones I wanted to start everything with this was, who is the best character on C Team and why is it Rosie?
Well, gosh, I honestly believe the answer to that question is Walnut.
You might be right, actually.
Walnut is unbelievable. The depth that Amy portrays her with is so realistic. She consciously is making walnut decisions. Just the other day when we cut, yesterday? Oh my gosh, it's been a long day.
Yesterday, yeah.
We cut for break and I had to run to the airport to come here. But as I was running out, she was like, did Walnut do the right thing? And I was like, absolutely not. But that's perfect. She's like, yeah, it is. Like it's something where she's better than me at a lot of things, but one of them is to play her character the way that her character would behave, even if she's doing things that are irrational or not admirable. And I
like a real person.
Like a real person, and I venerate old people so much that it's very hard for me to let Rosie fuck up. And so that's something that this season I'm trying really hard to do, is to let her be weak, let her be broken, let her fuck up, and not feel like I'm fucking her up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to have that separation between the person and the person you're creating.
Very hard. It
is very hard, but when you do it well, it's very, I'm sure, rewarding for you as well as everyone who's watching it and taking that in.
Yeah.
On a similar note, when you watch Chris, it's like, that actually might just be you.
That's honestly just Chris.
Like, when you called him an esoteric lunatic, I'm like, and that's the ball game, folks. That's just perfect.
That's because that's who he is.
It is.
That's my friend Chris, the esoteric lunatic. And Ryan Hartman is an idiot baby. All of those things are true.
Just cut right to it. Okay, so let's talk about Saltmarsh for a second.
Oh, sure.
So I can't remember what the title is, but you're the top name on the inside cover.
Yes.
So what was your role in making Ghosts of Saltmarsh?
So Ghosts of Saltmarsh was the product that was given to me on my very first day at Wizards. So this was February 2018. I was given a lot of training and support in trying to figure out how to make D&D, but also in addition to that, I was like, this is your product, you will be shepherding this through its completion. And I was like, I came from video games.
Yeah.
I've only ever done video game development up till now. And so I was like, I don't know the first fucking thing about this. So yikes. But it was, as these things go, a fairly straightforward product because they were existing adventures.
Yeah.
And we're updating them to 5th edition. So they'd already been play tested for however many, 30 years.
Yeah.
And we had Kobold Press was the ones who did the initial pass on updating them to 5th edition. So we had excellent freelancers working with us. And then
some of the freelancers were the people who actually made some of the original modules, like Wolfgang, I think,
yes,
right?
Yeah. Wolfgang was definitely one of our freelancers. And one of the adventures in the book is a Mike Merle's original from Dungeon Magazine. So that was an interesting challenge and was a huge part of my first 9 months on the team, was continuing to escort the production of this book. And then there was a point, because it was intended to be, they kept pointing me to Tales from the Yawning Portal as the model for this. They were like, if you have questions about how to execute certain things, just look to this, and that should provide you a lot of answers. And I remember a meeting with Mike Merles. We were going over some monster stat blocks, and he was like, I feel like this book is missing something. What do you think? And I was like, yeah, sure. I'm always down to add more stuff. And he was like, I think we should think about how... Sorry, everyone.
It's Matthew Lillard.
Matthew Lillard will not shut the fuck up.
Yeah. He's such a nice guy, but man, is he ADD. I mean, we love him to death, but D&D.
Chris Perkins is also interrupting us. Anyway, Oh my God.
Kirk is interesting anytime he wants
That's
to.
true.
Yeah.
And honestly, so can Matt Lillard. He's a dream.
Yeah.
So anyway, but there was a point where he was like, these adventures need something to stitch them together.
Yeah.
And let's figure out what that is. I was like, I'm down, because I love original design. And up till then, I was just like, I'm updating these old adventures, but I don't get to be creative here. And so that was where it came about. Like we added a whole bunch of rule sets and mechanics for voyages on the sea and what it's like to actually be a character who's from Saltmarsh. And like if you wanted to spin one up that has a fishy background, we've got all these new backgrounds. And so we made it so that if you wanted to buy it for the adventures, hell yeah, there's a whole seafaring campaign. But if you bought it and all you did was use the tools that we set out for both players and for DMs, that it would be a great purchase for that reason as well.
Right, so you kind of kitted out all these like kind of special, almost like corner rules, and to flesh them out a little bit better so that now you're like, your background want to be a fisherman, you're a fisherman.
Yep.
Yeah, you want to like really have this intense like ship to ship combat with cannons and people with cutlasses. Yeah. So
my favorite thing that we worked on was the roles aboard the ship. That was something that we worked super hard on. We had some excellent consultants. There's a guy who works at Wizards of the Coast on the magic side, I think, who used to be a merchant marine.
Yeah.
Will Ansell, and he's in the credits as a consultant. I swear to fucking God, Lillard.
I swear to God, look.
You're ruining everything.
They can't even hear him.
She
it's
got
Matthew
real
Lillard.
Are they feeding you? What's wrong?
Either they're feeding him too much or not enough.
He went down 3 flights of stairs just then.
Yeah, it was like a cigarette.
Oh my God, my dude! Oh my God, my dude! I can't do it, my dude! Have a good interview, guys.
Thanks, Matt.
Just
Thank
for
you.
clarification, it was Kate who snorted. It wasn't me.
It was me. I definitely snorted.
Although I'm prone as well.
What the fuck was I just talking about?
I don't know. So
who cares?
It doesn't even matter at this point. But there's a guy who was like a boatswain or something on the magic side.
It's pronounced bosun.
Bosun?
Yeah, I learned that on this book. I learned a lot of boat stuff on this book.
Well, okay. I said
bosun.
That does make more sense now that you say it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you know.
Yeah. Cool. So, when you joined the Wizards team, did you know that there's like, here's the brand new freaking book that you have to shepherd the whole thing? Like, do you know you're coming into it? Like, they're just going to hand me something and I have to.
I had no idea. That was a surprise on my first day.
So they're like, come on, kid, it'll be fine.
Yeah,
and now you're like, what did you do?
No, it was awesome. It scared the shit out of me. But honestly, I don't want to do stuff that doesn't scare the shit out of me. It's always gonna. I'm scared. I used to be scared of driving a car. And I didn't get my license and buy a car until I got this Wizards job, because it's out in bumfuck and you have to drive in order to get there.
Yeah.
So I was just like, all right, I'm scared of this, but we're going to do it anyway. And it turned out it's fine. I find this to be true a lot. With the exception of like getting eaten by bears or attacked by a shark, those are reasonable fears. But most of the things that you fear are so much scarier in your imagination.
Oh yeah.
Like if you're worried about, like, I don't know, I just try to attack things. They asked me to DM for this, and I was like, ah! And then
which is the
fine.
proper response.
Yeah. It was excitement, but it was mostly fear. And I'm still nervous, and then I'll do it, and then it'll be over, and I'll be like, I survived.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
You gotta face your fears and push through them and stuff. And you can't let those things stop you.
No.
So let me ask you on a related note. I've seen that you talked on social media and things before where you work through writer's block or depression and other things like that.
Oh yeah.
So when you come across obstacles of the mind, as it were, and of the heart, how do you push through those? What are the coping mechanisms?
Well, I have been in therapy for at least 6 years now, so that's a huge one. Mental health is not a joke.
No.
I take medication, I am in therapy, all of those things. I would not be where I am today without those things. And like, if you have access to them, that's something that you should take advantage of. And if you don't, I don't know, that the best thing to do is to have a trusted friend, I think.
Yeah.
And now a lot of what I do when I'm feeling down, when I'm feeling pent up, I dump it on the C team. Like they're my family. We have this big chat. We've had a chat going for the last 2.5 years, and so I just get in that C team chat and I'm like, ooh, I'm so aggravated about this, or like, guys, I really need help, and they are always there because every single one of them faces the same thing.
Yeah.
They've all gone through that with me too, and we're there to build each other up. Find that social group. so many times. It's your D&D group, luckily.
It is. When you said you've been in therapy, I thought you meant the C team. And
No.
then I was like, oh no, 6 years. Okay, that's a real actual therapy.
No, but it is therapeutic.
It is. It really
We're
is.
all working out our shit on the C team.
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Mostly Amy, but yeah.
But yes, yeah, obviously. God, I love her. But when it comes to like working through depression or working through those mental blocks, gosh, a lot of it is just having the incredible titanic amount of willpower to start doing the thing.
Yeah.
And that is the hardest part.
Yeah.
It's the hardest part. So you feel like your whole body is encased in cement, and you're just like, the thing that I have to do, let's say I'm like, I have 10 monster stat blocks I have to write, but I'm in such a funk. And that is the most monumental, unthinkable task to me right now. And then sometimes it'll take me a long time, and I'll be like, I'd just rather look at Reddit, and that's the easy junk food. But then if I can focus my attention and just take that first concrete laden step, it gets easier.
Yeah.
Like that is the hardest part. And honestly, there's no advice I can give except just force yourself to take that step, to push into that that body cast that depression can feel like. Just try to push and to talk to friends, find a therapist, have family, anybody you know you can trust, especially if they've gone through the same kind of thing. And you'll lift each other out of it.
Yeah, you're not alone. You don't have to be alone.
No.
You have to do life with other people. We're not meant to do this by ourselves.
Yeah, that leads to dark places.
It really does. And you got to get through that mental and emotional inertia. An object at rest tends to stay at rest.
Yes.
And so, but once you get going, you can get going.
Yes.
And so, I think that's really good advice.
Agreed.
And I think a lot of us D&D creative nerdy people, we all struggle with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know why it seems to go part and parcel with creatives.
I think we're more aware of our mind and of ourselves, perhaps. There's this greater self-awareness, perhaps. I don't know, speculating now.
Maybe it is that you live inside your own brain so much because that's where the ideas come from, and then also that's where all the bad thoughts come from too, obviously, is from your own brain. And so if you spend enough time up there, it's like, what's a good analog for it. It's like spending a bunch of time in a really cool sewer. Where you're like, dude, this sewer is so cool. There's so many neat rats in here. There's also a lot of rat feces in here. This place is both good and bad.
It's like if you worked at a chocolate factory and you're like, this is going to be amazing, and then the third weekend you're like, I hate chocolate.
Yeah.
It stinks.
Yeah.
It's all over my clothes.
I've had those jobs.
I've
had those jobs.
Yeah. So you just can't get away from yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. I've said this before on Twitter too. Is that sometimes, and I wasn't even depressed at the time. I was just everything that was coming out of my mouth or out of my fingers into Microsoft Word was like the most unoriginal shit, and it's because it was coming from me. It was coming from my brain, right? And so everything I'd come out, I was like, this is so trite and cliche, but it's because I already thought it, and it's coming out of me.
Yeah.
And it feels like a joke that I've heard 3,000 times. Sometimes my brain just gets sick of itself.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to reset. You have to, again, talk to people who love you and play some D&D and go to some therapy, and also understand, one of the things that's hardest for me to understand is that my ideas don't seem original because they're coming out of my mouth and my head. And this is the only place I live. But to other people, that's your value, right? Is what your brain pumps out through your fingers or from your mouth. That's how you contribute to society.
Right.
And everybody's got a different perspective.
Right. Just because you've had the idea 1,000 times doesn't mean anyone else has ever heard it.
Exactly.
Right?
It's very hard to remember that sometimes.
It is. You have to remember that not everything that happens here, everyone else knows about.
Right.
And sometimes you got to open up and share a little bit.
Totally. Yes.
So one of the things I know that on C-Team especially, that they like to give you a hard time about 6th edition, right?
Damn it.
So
they do.
I know you can't get away from it now. It's and now you can't talk about it. No, but so that's the joke. But at the same time, along those lines, that as you've been part of D&D as a player, now professionally and playing with 5th edition, if you could change anything about 5th edition, if you wish that 5th edition could do something a little bit better, a little bit different, what would it be? Even if you don't have the power yourself to change it, just as a personal preference.
I think about this a lot. And I think all of us on the design team have our own list of if we were to update it, if we were to redo 5th edition, knowing what we know now, how would we do that? And nothing, honest to God, nothing's in motion for any kind of new edition.
No,
swear to God.
Of course.
But for me, what I find to be the most dull, both in a home game, and especially on a streaming experience, is combat. Yeah. So what I would never strip combat out. That's not something I'm interested in. But what I would do is to streamline combat to make it more collaborative. Because it's kind of the only thing where everyone is acting by themselves, right? Yeah. It's very singular, and it isolates you, and you have to make those decisions on your own. For me, it would be so much more interesting to have a system where you it encourages and mechanizes combo moves, for example.
Absolutely.
Like Dinar and Rosie have the fastball special,
right?
Where he picks her up and tosses her, and
like
she's just
from
like
X-Men.
a blender. Yeah,
Perfect,
right.
Yeah.
And so that kind of thing, like we came up with that at the table. It's not much. It's literally just him picking up a halfling and throwing her. But it's so awesome. Like I will write fastball special on my notebook and show it to him under the camera, and he's like, yeah. So
tell him to steal second, just
Yeah, exactly. So I think I would do that. I would update that or streamline it or make it more of a continued collaboration around the table rather than like, okay, everybody go into your separate corner and roll dice.
Yeah, that's a good point because like this kind of like veil drops on the table when it goes into combat and everything's different. All the collaboration is gone.
Yep.
And anytime you try to do collaboration, sometimes you're like, okay, wait, where am I in the turn order? Did they go first? Do I go first?
Yeah,
How do I hold my turn? How do I hold my action?
Right.
And you can't remember those things in earthquakes, it's California.
I'm going to blame Matt Lillard.
Yeah, again, he's under the table. I don't know what he's doing. I've seen that happen before where it's just like, oh yeah, like you suddenly, you just can't even if you wanted to.
Right.
Did you ever play Chrono Trigger?
Oh God, yeah.
Right, so that game is all about combos, right? Something like that would be absolutely
so cool,
amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
I want to try. I probably won't experiment with it here, but eventually, when I'm DMing the next time I'm able to play with it, I want to experiment with rather than an initiative order, that combat turns are done as a group.
Yeah.
And so even though it's not like an official combo system, like rather than roll initiative, you have your 6-second group combat turns. Everybody talks about what they want to do. You can team up. It makes sense. You've been adventuring together for how many years in the Forgotten Realms. You guys would have ways of fighting together. You wouldn't all retreat into your corners after all that time. So I'm gonna try experimenting with that. We'll be playtesting some of that.
That's a great idea.
This is all very. This is
Personal
all extremely unofficial, but it's
personal wish list.
It to me is the weakest part, and maybe it's because I play in a streamed game and I understand. But I remember my long running home campaign. It was a big group, and as soon as the combat turn started, and it was 4th edition, so combat was way crunchier.
Yeah.
But a round of combat could last 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And so I saw people, like the light in their eyes would just go out and they'd be on their phones or they'd be on their computers or they'd go up and get a snack because combat did not matter to anyone who was not fighting actively. So I want people to feel at the table they are 100% engaged all the time and that no matter what is going on, there is an opportunity for them to matter at the table.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's the takeaway, guys. You matter, even at the table.
You matter.
Cool.
And your brain is cool.
Your brain is cool.
Those are my 2 messages today.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate
This is awesome.
taking your time.
Thank you.
Cool. See you.